Hi guys, today we're writing equations of parabolas again, but this time we don't have the graphs. We only have the information that we would get out of the graph. So since we don't have the graph, we will come up with a sketch of the graph. Here on top I gave you the two formulas. So the y equals is going to be just the parabolas that open up or down depending on your leading coefficient right here. And then when you have x equals, your parabolas will open left or right depending on your leading coefficient. So if your leading coefficient is negative, it's going to open left. If your leading coefficient is positive, it's going to open right. That's just from the other video. So off we go. I have the vertex and I have the directrix. Okay, so either way, I need to write the equation in vertex form. So it's one of these two, but I need to decide what kind of parabola we have. But I won't know until I go through all the steps and I'm going to sketch the graph. So I like to start with the directrix because x equals is a vertical line. So that vertical line is right there on the graph, x equals 0 somewhere, right? So then I have the vertex here. The vertex of the parabola is -5, 0. So at this point, because the vertical line is right there as my directrix, I know it is not going to be the y equals one. It's going to be an x equals parabola. It's going to be a sideways parabola. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started with the x equals for my final answer. Now I need to decide if the parabola is going to open left or right. So I need to find on the graph where the vertex will be. -5, 0. So if this is x equals 0, on the graph, -5 would be over here to the left somewhere. So this is the vertex. So if that is the vertex, the parabola would look something like that. Okay? So where -5, 0 is the vertex of that parabola right there. And I remember that C is the distance from the vertex to the directrix. C, right there. And I can tell that C is the distance from the vertex to the directrix, and in this case is 5, because from -5 to 0, that is 5. I also know from the previous video that C equals 1/4 absolute value of A. And I know that C equals 5, therefore 5 equals 1/4A. Now, I multiply both sides by A. I have 5A, or I can multiply by 4A. Why not? Okay, equals 1. 4 times 5 is 20. Divide both sides by 20. I have A equals 1/20. And as soon as I drew this parabola opening left, I know A is negative. And I already went through the trouble. I found A is 1/20. So 1/20, and it is negative because it's opening left. H is the x from the vertex, so -5. K is the y from the vertex, 0 right there. I'm going to follow this formula. So A, we already decided was negative, so -1/20. And then y minus k is 0, so just y squared, plus h is -5. Gonna a lot more thinking than doing. Now this one, I have the vertex and the focus. I still need A, H, and K because it's, you're gonna need that for either form. Focus is a point. Vertex is a point. So I need to think a little bit harder on this one. So focus right there is 0, 0. This is my x-axis. This is my y-axis. So I need to always start with the sketch of the graph. Focus right there is 0, 0. And remember, the focus is the point inside the parabola. So parabola is going to be over here somewhere, not on the outside, not a random point just floating around. So the vertex is right there at 3, 0. So 3, 0 is somewhere over here. This is 3, 0. If the focus is a point somewhere inside the parabola, at this point, I decided that this is my vertex, just because they told me so. And I drew that parabola where the focus is right there inside the parabola, because otherwise it would be just a random point over here. So when I made that decision, I know I will end up with an x equals parabola. And because this opens to the left, a is negative. Okay? I got lucky because they gave me the vertex, and that's h and k. So h and k. All right. I need to decide the length or the distance from the focus to the vertex. So if the focus is at 0, 0, the vertex is at 3. So c is 3. Since c is 3, and I know c equals 1 over 4a, or 4 absolute value of a, multiply both sides by 4a, I have 12a equals 1, a equals 1 over 12. And we decided right there in the beginning that a is negative because it opens, the parabola opens left. So 1 over 12, now we have everything we need, plug that in the formula. So x equals negative 1 over 12, y minus k, k is 0, so just y squared, plus h is 3. Not too bad, but if you don't sketch the graph, you don't know what direction your parabola is opening, and you don't know if it's up and down or side to side either. Sketch the graph. Now, number 3, it's like, just give me something. They did, but they're fractions and not even a vertex to help me out. So I have to put some really deep thought into that. Either way, I know I need a h and k no matter what. So first thing, this really bothers me. I don't know what number that is. So put that in your handy dandy calculator, just so you have an idea what negative 19 over 4 is. So that number is negative 4.75. So this number is negative 4.75. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the directrix. So the directrix is negative 5.25. Okay, negative 5.25. Okay, that makes me feel better. Directrix is a line, a horizontal line going side to side. Boom, right there. That's my directrix at negative 5.25. At this point, I already know it's going to be a y equals parabola. Y equals. Okay? All right. So the focus is somewhere over here at negative 4.75. So it's, I don't know, right there somewhere. Focus at negative 4.75 for y and 1 for x. Okay. So that means the parabola is over here somewhere, or the vertex, opening this way, because the focus is a point inside the parabola and the directrix is a line outside the parabola. I know A is going to be positive. So the next step, I need to find the vertex. So the vertex is right there, halfway between the focus and the directrix. If I know the whole distance from negative 4.75 to 5.25, how far are they apart? Well, I don't know. So 525 to 475 is 0.5 apart. Or you could have done that in your head. From negative 4.75 to negative 5 is 0.25. 0.25 plus 0.25, that's a whole thing of 0.5. Okay? Now, that thought process I cannot do for you. If you're not listening, that's on you. I explained everything. If you have a question, you just ask me. But now, this is the whole distance from the focus to the directrix. If the whole distance is 0.5, halfway through is 0.25. So C right there, C will be 0.25. C is the distance from the focus to the vertex. So if C is the distance, I have to find the vertex. And the vertex, I'm going to get the focus and add or subtract C. Right here, the focus is negative 4.75, and I need to go down 0.25. So minus 0.25. That will put the vertex right there at negative 5. If you can't do this in your head, put it in a calculator. Okay, so now I know the vertex will be 1 because it's in the same direction as the focus. So I have 1, negative 5 for the vertex. All this work just to come up with the vertex because they didn't give it to us. So I have 1, negative 5 for the vertex. Okay, I already have C. From C, I need to find A. I know C is 0.25, and I also know C equals 1 over 4A. Multiply 0.25 times 4. No, the calculator is not broken. 0.25 times 4 is 1. Ooh! So I have 1A equals 1, so A is 1. We already decided in the beginning that A was going to be positive because the parabola is opening up. So it is nice when A is 1. Okay, so I have everything I need to write my formula, my equation of the parabola. So y equals A is 1, so x minus h squared plus k. A lot more thinking than doing. Now, I want to do one more because it gives you some weird wording, but it's actually asking the same thing. But it's just using the definition of a parabola. So it's asking you to write an equation for the set of all points in the plane equidistant from this and that. What does that mean? Well, write an equation for the set of all points in the plane that are equidistant. So write the equation of a parabola from this point, which is the focus, and the x equals blah. So, and this is the directrix. All right, so now we have the same starting point from the question before, and we still have a whole bunch of fractions, but I just wanted to throw this one out there because the wording is a little different, so don't panic. That's what it's asking you to do. So I still need A, H, K, and just like all the other questions, we're not starting anything until we have the sketch of the graph. But the good thing is they give us the directrix. So I know it's a vertical line going up and down right there, x equals. Ta-da! So 9 over 4 is 225. And negative 17 over 4 is negative 425. So right here I have x equals negative 4.25, and the focus is right there on the positive side, somewhere over here at 225 and 5. This is focus. So I know the parabola is going to be here. somewhere opening this way. When it opens to the right, A is positive. They didn't give us the vertex, but we can find the vertex by finding C, and C is the distance from the focus to the vertex and from the vertex to the directrix. So if I know I have to go from negative 425 all the way over to 225. So we're finding the distance from here to here. So 425 and 225, the whole distance is 650. And half of it will be C. So the whole distance right here is 650. Half of it is 325. All right, so C is 325. I know C equals 1 over 4A. Multiply both sides by 4A. So that's 13. So A is 1 over 13, and we decided A is positive. All right, we need the vertex. Since from the directrix to the vertex, I need to add 3.25 because I'm going to the right. Directrix to the right, so negative 4.25 plus 325, I get negative 1. So negative 1 is the x from the vertex. And since it's in the same direction as f, it lines up, so y is 5. So vertex negative 1, k is 5. It's going to be funny because some of you are going to ask me where the vertex came from, and I'm going to laugh. It's going to be so funny. Okay, so x equals, because it's a sideways parabola, a is positive 1 over 13, y minus k squared. So y minus k is 5, squared, plus h is 1. The end. I wanted to do one more, but it's getting a little too long, and the other one is just, we already did it. It's very similar to the past couple ones, so I want to stop right here. Goodbye.